Welcome, my name is Sophia and I'm the brand educator for Zendira Concealed Carry Bags. I'm so excited to be here today to show you how to properly, efficiently, and safely use the Sofia Bag by Zendira. Let's talk about how to make today safe if you're following along with your concealed carry pistol. First of all, you're going to take your firearm, take the mag out, inspect it, rack the slide, inspect the chamber, and ensure that there is no live ammo in the room with you. Next, you will determine a safety direction. For me today, that is this area that I am pointing in, but if you're at home and you're not sure where to point it, the refrigerator is a great location for that. This informational video is not a replacement for general firearms instruction. We at Zendira definitely recommend you go and get some formal training in addition to watching this video so that you can learn best how to use the Sofia bag. Let's start off this Sofia bag curriculum with a tour of the actual bag. Just like every leather bag made by Zendira, you are getting the highest quality leather possible. This is the color combination smoke. We have that gunmetal / silver hardware with the black leather. The front zipper compartment is made to hold things like your wallet, your keys, and actually, I was carrying this earlier today and I have my lipstick in here. Additionally, we have a back compartment for things like jewelry and cash. The Sofia bag was not intended to be for those that are maximalists, so if you're someone who needs a little bit more space, this bag may not be for you. Of course, we don't want to overcrowd the front of the bag because the concealed carry compartment is the most important compartment of the bag. Anytime I refer to a safe and effective bag for concealed carry, I have 3 sets of criteria. One is that there is a compartment in the back solely intended for concealed carry and your firearm. This ensures that when you go to look for your firearm, you are not accessing anything but your firearm. That brings me to my second piece of criteria, which is that there should be an effective and quick way to access your firearm. Zendira uses high-quality magnets for the access point, and we'll talk about how that works in a moment when we go over the draw. Before we get into the third piece of criteria, let's talk about the hardware and the straps. All Zendira straps are accompanied with cut-resistant webbing. This ensures that if anyone ever tried to come up to you and grab this off of you, it's not going anywhere. All of the hardware is sourced to make sure it is the highest quality hardware you can possibly have to ensure that this bag not only lasts you forever, but again, is not easy to remove from your person. My third piece of criteria for a safe and effective bag intended for concealed carry is that you have a holster intended 1 for your firearm and 2 has a trigger guard over the trigger guard for the firearm. For example, this hard piece of Kydex ensures that I don't accidentally access the trigger from here. The holster engineered for this bag was made in collaboration with Henry Holsters. It is a fully Kydex holster with a Tegris placard and a Velcro backing. There are 3 screws on the back, 2 of which can be adjusted to change the cant angle of the firearm in the holster. This way you preserve the surface-to-surface connection of the Velcro of the holster with the Velcro of the bag to ensure that we have optimal connection and optimal retention. In order to find the proper orientation of the firearm, we are going to go ahead and put the bag on and have your unloaded firearm in the holster. For the chest position, we will want the bag to have a slightly more neutral position for the wrist. Once we go to the hips, since it's lower down, we may want to cant that a bit. Note that if you primarily carry the bag around your chest like so, you will want to keep the holster orientation for the chest as your primary holster orientation. You will still be able to draw from the hips if you're out in public and you just need to move the bag from your chest down to your hips to sit down and say eat with your family at a restaurant. Let's go ahead and find the proper orientation for this draw for my chest position. Note that my body would normally be faced this way in order to draw due to muzzle direction preservation, which we will talk about in the draw, but for demonstration purposes today, I'm going to stay facing forward. The first thing I'm going to do is assess this grip angle for the chest position. Right about here is where I'm most comfortable. Once I do that, I'm going to give it a good press. You can even close the bag to do so. Once this is done, I'm going to feel about where that grip is, and to me, that feels good. To test this, I will do a few draws, which brings me to my next point, the draw. I developed this draw with muzzle direction as the primary focus. Before we start the draw, I want you to know that we will be working from a surrender position. This is because in a self-defense situation, I would want to communicate with body language that I'm not being friendly. In other words, I keep my hands up and out, framing against my, say, attacker. That's the word we'll use today. I'll also be starting with my dominant or right foot back. If you are someone who is left-handed in this video, everything will be mirrored exactly. There's also a left-handed bag. Just ensure to click left-handed when you are selecting the properties to make up your Sofia bag. Starting from that surrender position, step 1 is to stabilize the bag on the hardware. This is because if we stabilize on the leather piece of the bag, we are far too close to the muzzle direction of the gun, so it is a lot safer and more effective to hold at the hardware. It's also a great indexing point to ensure I know where to grab every single time. Along with that, on step number 1 is to take a step back, or you can simply blade your hips. For today's purpose, I'll talk about this in the form of a step because now my muzzle direction is completely forward. Along with this in step 1 is to index at the top right of the bag. In fact, I've trained with this bag so much I have a little indentation at the top of the bag here. Again, step 1 is to grab the hardware, take that step back to maintain muzzle direction, and index at the top right corner of the bag. Step 2 is to drive the corner of the bag out. Note that my hand needs to be parallel to the ground to ensure that I am not driving into the bag and disrupting the Velcro connection of the holster to the bag. Just like any bag, there is a specific technique associated to get the optimal draw for the firearm. Again, step 2 is to drive straight out. From here, step 3 is to build a solid grip. We define a solid grip by 3 points of connection. 3 fingers on the grip, your index finger high on the slide, and your thumb supporting the back strap of the gun. After you have your established grip for 3, you are going to draw and make sure that your support hand comes behind the firearm when presenting out on target. And number 5 is the reholster, which is its own step because it's incredibly important. This is where a lot of people can injure themselves if they do it too quickly or unsafely. You'll come to compress ready for number 5. You'll stabilize with the hardware again. You'll step back, making sure your muzzle direction is forward, and push your body forward to get it out of the way of the muzzle path as you lead your firearm into the holster. Just like so. To move the bags from the chest to the hip, simply unclip the hardware and move it down. For myself, personally, I have to tighten this to make it work for me, but I've noticed when I'm in a restaurant, it's not distracting. It doesn't take much time to simply pull this over and get it onto my hips where I would like it and where I train. The steps to draw from the hip position are very similar. We're going to start with our hands forward in the surrender position to start. For step 1, I'm going to stabilize on the hardware, take a step back, and index at the top right corner of the bag. From here, the angle is slightly more downward when I draw that bag out for step 2. Number 3 is the same, building my grip with those 3 fingers on the grip, my index finger high on the slide, and my thumb on the back strap. I will then draw and be incredibly conscientious of where my right hand is to meet it with my support hand as I step forward for step 4. Same thing for 5, compressed ready, stabilize with the hardware, follow that muzzle into your bag after you step back, nice and slow, pushing my body forward to ensure that I don't flag any part of my body. I'd like to mention it's important to ensure your magnets enclose properly. As much as I, of course, believe in my creation with Zendira, it is important to check your gear always. You can make this draw a bit more difficult and realistic by adding a shot timer and adding steps to the left and right, as well as front to back. Make sure to slowly increase the speed of your draw, ensuring that you aren't overlooking any of the steps 1 through 5. Lastly, note that if you primarily carry in the hip position, you may want to angle your firearm slightly more like so to ensure the wrist angle is a bit more neutral. Thank you for watching today's video. If you are to load your firearm and put that firearm into your bag, ensure that the bag never comes off of you. However you choose to carry the bag, ensure you train just like that. For example, if you primarily carry it in the chest position, be sure to train it like so. If you primarily carry it around the hips, do that. My official recommendation is that, of course, you train both, because the idea is that if you need to walk into a location and sit down and you want to change the bag from your chest to your hips, you'll know how to draw from both effectively. In order to find the correct orientation of the firearm and bag, I recommend you do this with an unloaded firearm. And once you decide on that orientation, you can go ahead and load your firearm safely, just as you would carrying any other way. This includes ensuring that you do not flag yourself or others, as well as ensuring proper muzzle direction when loading the gun into your holster. Thank you so much for watching this video. The Sofia bag has a special place in my heart, as I took a year with the founder, Julie, of Zendira to develop it to ensure that you all have a bag you can carry both across the chest and across the hips with concealed carry in mind. Be sure to join our Facebook community, the email list, and keep up with us on social media at Shop Zendira to ensure that you can see all updates to do with the Sofia bag.